Welcome back everyone to the channel. In this video I'm going to be going over another OTB game that I played here recently a couple days ago, and I'm just going to get right into the game. This one's a little bit longer. It's about 25 or 30 minutes long, so we didn't use a clock for this one, so hopefully you guys will still be enjoying it even though it's 25 minutes or so long. And yeah, let's get right into it. So I'm playing with white pieces in this game, and you see the analysis board right here on the screen, so you can look at that if you want to see a better view. And yeah, let's start the game. So I'm playing with white pieces. We shake hands. I start the game with d4, and my opponent goes d5. We're just blitzing moves pretty easily here, just pretty fast. And my opponent decides to play the Queen's Gambit accepted, and I play my normal e4, which is what you're supposed to play. And he thought for a little bit here. He thought for a little bit here, and he decided to go e6. And I played knight to c3, which is what I normally play, which is what you should normally play with the Queen's Gambit. I've never done like a longer video like this, so you guys should let me know. And so right out of the gate, I blunder here because he can just take my pawn with his queen. He can take the pawn on d4 with his queen, but yeah, I guess he doesn't see it because he decides to trade instead. So we trade like this, and now I'm defending, and he goes knight to f6, knight to c6. Sorry. So the funny thing happened. He tried to play knight to b6 because he just didn't see the board right, and we laughed about that, which is kind of funny. But he played knight to c6, and I played knight to f3. And now my next move is probably going to be taking that pawn back, or yeah, take the pawn back and then bring out the dark square bishop is what I normally do. He laughed about something here. I kind of forgot what he said, but he laughed. He said something and we both laughed. This is kind of just a kind of a casual setting in at this area where I'm playing in at the club. A lot of like jokesters and stuff. So he played knight e7, and I took the pawn with my bishop, and he thought for a little bit, and we both castled here. His next move was kind of confusing. I didn't really get the idea of it because it kind of, I don't know, it just didn't really make sense. But he thought for a little bit, and he decided to go knight to g6, which I didn't really get. But I mean, I guess people just don't get each other's moves because they're not in each other's brain or something. I just played knight to bishop to e3, which is totally normal, I think. And now the top moves here are to bring the rooks and to eventually push in center. That's the idea of this d4 opening. You want to really open the center and get all your pieces out, and that's the point of a gambit like the Queen's Gambit, is to get all your pieces out quickly and develop all your pieces. And again, there's still like 20 odd minutes left in this game, so hopefully you guys will stick around because this game was pretty interesting, especially near the end. I brought my a rook to d1, and he played b5, and I just brought my bishop back. Again, we have a little bit more time to think because we're not using a clock, as you see there in the background. We're not using the clock. Yeah, so he played knight back to e7, and I pushed d5. Again, guys, let me know if you like the little analysis board there on the left side, or if there's any changes that you would like to see made. I would like to hear your thoughts on that. I took with the bishop here because I was attacking the rook, and he took with the knight, and I took with my rook instead of the pawn here. I don't know how to fill all these empty spaces of time because it's just like quiet, so I don't know. And also there's really not much to listen to. There's guys coming to the club, so there's guys talking and stuff, but he played queen here. There's really not much to talk about here because of all the empty, like quiet silence. So I guess quiet is silence, so that doesn't really make sense. Now he's threatening to take that pawn, as you see, take that pawn on e4. And now I'm probably wanting to like bring a rook maybe, or you know, get my knight over there, but you'll see. I don't know. Okay, so I decided to play knight here, knight to g5. I kind of like this move. It defends the pawn. It also brings the knight out, and the queen cannot attack. And now my idea here is what the computer. I saw this during the game to play this move, bishop c5. I like that move. You know, skewering the queen to the rook. But he did not fall for that, and after a little bit of thinking, he thought for a few seconds, maybe a minute or so, and you see him thinking there, and I'll just sit here and wait for him to stop thinking and move. And he kept thinking. Okay, I don't really know how to fill all this empty space. He decides to go rook d8. So, offering a trade of rooks, and I thought for a little bit, and I decided to take, and of course he takes back with the queen, because that's the only piece he could take back with. And now I thought here for a little bit. I didn't exactly know what to play, but I knew I don't want to have his queen out there, because his queen can cause some mayhem, so I decided to, after a little bit of thinking, I decided to offer a queen trade, as you can see coming up here. I decided to offer a queen trade with queen d4. And if he takes, I am pretty happy because I can move my knight, I can bring my rook, I can attack the pawns, so I'm doing fairly well, I think. I don't exactly know what the evaluation is here. But you know, I think I'm doing okay. I have more pieces out than him, so he decides to go a bishop to b7, which is actually a pretty good move because now he gets the open file. And I go h3, which I didn't really understand when I played that. I don't really know what that did, because now he can just go h6 and just kick out my knight, which is what he did, as you see there. So now I'm going to lose a pawn, which, as you see there on the screen, I don't know if I shake my head or something, but I kind of make some kind of reaction to that. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. Yeah, so after h6, wow, I just completely wrecked that. h6, and I have to move my knight back to f3, because then I'll lose it otherwise. You guys have to let me know if this is just, you don't like all this empty, because I feel like I don't like this just silence. It's just weird. I don't know. He takes my pawn, though. Yeah, I just don't really like all this silence and stuff. It's too silent, if you know what I mean. Okay, and yeah, so some kid walked into the room where I was at and kind of jostled my camera because he was putting something away in the room. So I had to witness the jostling of the camera, which is great. I go knight to d4. And he thinks. And thinks. And thinks. And thinks some more. And goes c5, kicking my knight out. I go knight back to b3. And yeah, there's some scrapage of a chair on the ground, so sorry about that. He goes pawn to c4, so, you know, not a good move because of my next move, which you will see in a moment. I'm glad I found this move because it's one of the only pawns to win a pawn back right away. It's knight to c5. So the point is, I'm attacking the pawn on a6 there, and the bishop pawn. He cannot move the bishop back, of course, because I'll take, and so he'll have to move the bishop. He decides to go here, so now I can just take the pawn, as you see there. Now the computer really likes f3, which I didn't see in the moment, but the point is basically we have opposite colored bishops, so I want to put my colors, my pawns on a color that will complement my bishop, which basically means my bishop will be able to move more freely, whereas his bishop will definitely not move more freely. I did not see this move though, and after knight takes a6, he thought for a little bit. And there, I'm just adjusting the camera there, and he plays knight to e5. And I just confirmed with him that was his last move, because I had left the board, and he confirmed it. And now I don't want his knight getting in there. So, you know, a lot of moves are okay. Well, there's only a couple. This move is good, and also knight c5 is good. This one is probably better, I would say, because I attacked the bishop. But I did not go for knight to b4. Instead, I went for knight to c5. Yeah, I was kind of touching my rook, but I didn't really know where to put the rook. So I just went knight to c5. Come on and make the move. There it is, knight to c5. And now he cannot move his knight, and he cannot... Yeah, he can't move his knight. That's the main thing. I would have liked to see b4 instead. But, you know, it accomplishes kind of the same thing, I guess. Okay, and he went rook to d6, which I didn't... Okay, so the point is that he wants to go rook to g6, yeah. So now it would be a good time to probably play f3, which I didn't really see. And instead, I went bishop f4, which doesn't really accomplish anything, you know? I thought I was, like, winning a piece. I'm not. I'm not winning a piece. I mean, this is very easy to counteract. You just move the rook, push the pawn, or, I don't know, do something else. He pushed the pawn, and I took, and he took back with the pawn, as you see there, because he couldn't take back with anything else. Okay, there we are. Okay, here we go. So we're back in this position, and I play rook to c1. Rook to c1, he moves the rook back. I push the pawn, which does... This is like a huge blunder. I'm so upset that I did that. I just blundered a pawn. He cannot take, or I cannot take, obviously, because of the pin here with the rook. So I was very upset with myself for doing that. So I played rook to c2 to, you know, counteract another attack of the bishop taking another pawn, or, you know, instead of the rook, which would have been worse. He pushes his pawn, and after this move, I decide to kind of just, I guess, ignore this move, and instead I play b3, which was fine, I guess. And he thought for a little bit, and he sneezed, and I'm just going to turn the volume down a little bit. There we are, and oh, sorry about that. And I took back with the knight, which, you know, is probably better, I think. He pushed the pawn. Yeah, so it's fine right now, I think. played knight to d4, which I kind of liked. The point is I'm attacking the bishop, and if the bishop moves, I'm also protecting the square for that the pawn is going to move to. So I kind of like this move. And he thought for a little bit longer. And he backed the bishop up. And he sneezed again. By the way, his sneezes are so interesting to me. I don't know why. It's just kind of funny. Okay. I win here to defend my pawn, basically, I guess. He thought for a little bit. And he kept thinking, and he played for g3, which is, you know, a totally reasonable move. And keep in mind, there's still like 20 more moves left, or more. There's still more than 20 moves left. I would have liked to have like gone back in time and watched this game, and I would have known the outcome, so I would have played different moves. I decided to take the pawn here, which is fine, but I really don't want the rook there. I could have easily stopped that pawn. I would have rather, instead of this, maybe played king here to kick the rook out, and then I can take the pawn, or you know, move my pawn or whatever. So instead I played here, and he brought his king and I brought my knight. Yeah, so right now I'm threatening knight to f5. And he sneezed again. And he thought for a little bit and played king to f6. And I played my king, my pawn there. My king, not my pawn. He brought his rook, and I really wish I would have played like rook to e2 or something, but I can't because he's threatening to move his king to e5, so I can't do that. Instead, I thought for a little bit, and I came up with this move. It took me a little bit to think about it, but a4 first, king to e4, and then I played this move. He sneezed again, and I played this move, knight to f3, which, you know, looking back, I kind of wish I hadn't, but okay. I took back, and he thought for a little bit more, and he played king to f4, and we have about 15 more moves left in this game. So right now we are totally equal, material wise, but he has a lot more activity, I feel like, and he has a pawn 2 squares away from queening, and I have a pawn 4 squares away, and his king is much closer, and my king is not much closer, so he had a cough drop. I pushed my pawn, which was fine, but they're totally better moves. I mean, absolutely better moves to play. He thought for a little bit and played rook e3. So now I'm kind of just screwed. I mean, I don't really have many good moves left. I mean, he's going to take the pawn, and then he's going to promote, or he's going to push his pawn, so I push my pawn. So now I'm 3 squares away. He sneezed again, and he took the pawn. I played rook to c3, just pinning the pawn so he cannot push it. He thought for a little bit, and he played king to f2. And I thought here. After he played king f2, I thought, and there's different moves that were appealing, I guess, but I just pushed my pawn, so now we're equal in squares away. So now the threat for him is rook to g2, which would be pretty bad. And for me, it's rook to c2, which would be... So he thought for a little bit after my move a6, and you know, there are a few moves that are okay. He could probably, he can't push the pawn. Maybe he can push g5. Maybe he can go rook g2 check. He decided to go rook g1. He thought about it for a little bit, but he did decide to go rook g1, which was fine. And I just pushed my pawn, and he brought his rook over, and now I did something, you know, in the next couple moves that was very stupid. I don't know why I did it, but basically I don't want him to take my pawn there on a7, so I thought for a second or two, and, you know, I don't have many good moves here. I can't check the king because he'll block with the pawn, and he's just a square away, so I played rook to c7. So, you know, I'm also threatening the pawn there on g7, and I'm defending my pawn, and I'm also threatening that check. So he pushed the pawn, and now comes a long series of checks. I mean, there's literally like four turns worth of checks. So brace yourself if you're still here. Thank you very much. Played rook to f7 check. And right now, he is a pawn up. So I have to be very careful, and he's one square away, but so am I. He played king to e3. I played rook e7 check. I'm kind of like grasping at straws almost now because I have like nothing. So yeah, this is, I mean, he took a little bit here to think because there are a few moves. He doesn't really want to block the pawn. He played king to d3, which is fine. I gave him another check. And he thought for a little bit more. Basically, he really doesn't want to trade the rooks because then we'll both queen, and he's not going to queen with a check, so it might be even to draw. He played king to c2, and I gave him this check, as you see here, and here comes the very stupid move very soon. In the next couple of moves, you will see it. King d1, rook d7 check, king e1, and now I made the worst move of the whole game, which is rook d8, which when I saw it, I was like, why did I play this move? And because it's touch move, and I actually placed it down and I took my hand off, so I had to leave it there, which I was like kind of kicking myself after this game, like, why did I do that? I lost the game because of one move, which is rook d8, and I was really mad with myself. So now it's, you know, totally just lost for me because I lost my pawn on a7, and now he can trade off my rook and queen. So he took, and, you know, I don't have much left. I don't have anything left. So I played rook to g8, which does really nothing because he still has his rook there. But, you know, he thought for a little bit, and he decided to go rook to f7. And, you know, at this point, I got nothing, right? I have absolutely nothing. So, yeah, it's time to say the final goodbyes because this game is very much, you know, done for me. King to h3. King to f2. Rook to e8. And it's over. I mean, it's totally just over. He's going to queen. I'm going to take... Yeah, it's just over. And... yeah, it was fun, but... he pushed, and I resigned. So, yeah, definitely a hard loss, but... you know, it was still a fun game, and this game is like, oh, this video is over pretty soon, so I'm going to just cut it there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to check out the 2 links in the description, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.